Another video day, and today the Houston Rockets lose the Miami Heat 104-100. The Rockets fall to 21-11, 11-5 at home, lose their second straight, and unfortunately lose their ninth straight against the Miami Heat. The Rockets have done incredible things this year and have had so many, games where they've pulled off something, beating a team they haven't been able to beat in years, like beating the Warriors for the first time since the 1920 season, or beating Minnesota for the first time since the 2021 season, beat the Pacers for the first time since the 2019-20 season. They even won in Philadelphia for the first time since the 17-18 season when the Rockets were the 1 seed. So many good things the Rockets have done this year. Even just recently, last week, won in Toronto for the first time since the 2019-20 season as well. So many good things tonight. Would have been great for the Rockets to accomplish another achievement that their team has not been able to do in years and beat the Miami Heat for the first time in 8 matchups, which I think takes us back all the way to probably the 2019-20 season. Is probably the last time that the Rockets were able to take down the Miami Heat, if I'm correct. Might be the 2020-21 season, but I think it was the 2019-20 season the last time the Rockets were able to take down the Heat, and it might have been in the NBA bubble. But this was a really tough one, and I'm going to start off by saying the refs were terrible at the end of this game. Absolutely terrible at the end of this game. And the Rockets fans that were at the arena, the Rockets fans that are saying this after the game, you were 100% right to be saying, refs, you suck. I love it when I hear how loud that chant is. The refs were terrible at the end of this game. I'll tell you a couple things I didn't like at the end of this game, and I think it's pretty obvious. It's the end with the Fred VanVleet down 98-94. Really, Miami's defense was so good, Fred couldn't find anybody to give the ball to. Nothing was open. And it was going down on the on the violation clock, and for about to be a 5-second violation, and they replayed it, and VanVleet called the timeout right as that 5-second hit, and of course the referee that was looking was right by Fred VanVleet was not paying attention at all, and called the 5-second violation. Fred got frustrated and they ejected him. That was what pissed me off right there. That. And then the whole thing with ejecting Ime Udoka and Ben Sullivan. That was another frustrating thing, I thought, as well. Let's get to the Amen Thompson stuff, the fight that happened. I'm very frustrated with Amen Thompson, to be honest. I don't know what happened there. None of us know what happened at all. So I don't know what Amen Thompson said to Tyler Hero. I don't know what Tyler Hero said to Amen Thompson that led to that sequence. Who knows? It's probably some BS that is so stupid that, we're probably, it's just, who knows what happened there. But it's very frustrating that Amen Thompson threw Tyler Hero on the ground like that. Especially when we just saw what happened in the NBA recently, when we just saw the NBA hand out, I would say, pretty large suspensions to Najee Marshall and Yusuf Nurkic and PJ Washington. Najee Marshall got suspended 4 games. I think Nurkic got 3 or 2 games. It's not often you see suspensions like that in the NBA. Sure, when you do something like that, like we saw in the Mavs-Suns game, you'll see that happen. But with a fight just happening, you do something like that leads to something that's even more than that. We're talking about Amen throwing Tyler Hero on the ground, which he could have seriously hurt Tyler Hero. And I'm not trying to attack Amen, but that's something you don't want to do, no matter what Tyler Hero said. You don't want to hurt the other player. But you could have hurt Tyler. That's one thing. Number 2, it led to so much more. It led to Terry Rozier going after Amen Thompson, which, to be honest, I didn't want to see Amen Thompson get hurt there, but I also can't really blame Terry Rozier for coming after Amen Thompson. You're going to defend your teammate. And I know that any Rockets player would have done the same thing for them. That's exactly why Jalen Green, and this is a repeat effect, this is just everything going in motion. That's why when Terry Rozier went after Amen Thompson, what does Jalen Green try to go do? Tries to go after Terry Rozier. So that's Amen Thompson's actions is what led to so much more. It's what led to Terry Rozier going after, Amen, and it's what led Jalen Green to going after, it's what led to Jalen Green going after Terry Rozier. I don't blame Terry Rozier or Jalen Green for what they did in this game defending their teammates, with Terry Rozier defending Tyler Hero or Jalen Green defending Amin Thompson. But you never want to see violence, and I think the very unfortunate thing is, could we see suspensions after this whole thing? Because that's what you don't want to see with the Rockets' 3-game stretch coming up, or actually 5-game stretch coming up. That's what you don't want to see. Like the Rockets' next 3 games at home, you got the Mavericks, which I know they're without Luka right now. Obviously without Najee Marshall, who just got suspended for 4 games, but they still got Kyrie, they still got Clay, they still got Lively, Gafford, Grimes. They still got a good team that can beat you. Especially with the way the Rockets have played these last 2 games. Dallas is definitely capable of coming into Houston and beating the Rockets. Then you got the Lakers. You have the Celtics, 3 games in a row. You got the Wizards. I wouldn't be too worried about that game. But then you got the Grizzlies. So with this 5-game stretch coming up, you cannot afford to be suspended. Amin Thompson is a big part of this team. He wasn't huge tonight. I mean, he had 5 rebounds, 5 assists. He had 5 points, 2 for 4. He didn't shoot the ball that much tonight. He had a steal, but he is still huge for this team, and you cannot afford to lose him. So I don't see him getting suspended 5 games. I know I listed out the next 5 games to the Rockets, but with the next 3 games, with what the schedule has for this team, Dallas, Lakers, Celtics, Rockets cannot lose Amin Thompson. And if the NBA is going to look at suspending Terry Rozier for what he did in this whole scruffle, this whole fight, if that's what you want to call it, or they want to suspend Tyler Hero, I doubt Jalen Green gets suspended, but if they want to suspend Jalen Green, if guys get punished like they were punished in that whole Dallas Mavericks Suns thing, I just don't see a way where guys aren't punished suspension-wise for this whole thing when guys were just punished in the Suns Mavericks thing. I think a lot of people would be upset if you look at, hey, Nurkic and Washington and Marshall, they got in trouble, they got suspended and ejected for this, everything that happened here. Where are the suspensions here? So I definitely could see some punishments, and I think that's when you start to look at guys like Jalen Green, Terry Rozier, and Tyler Hero, and if those guys are in potential of suspension, then guess who's going to get the biggest suspension of them all? And that's Amin Thompson, and that's something you can't have happening when the next 3 games, what the next 3 games have for you, especially when you just lost 2 in a row, and you got these next 3 games against LA, Boston, and Dallas. But yeah, so the Amin Thompson thing was frustrated. The refs, I thought, were great call to eject Amin Thompson, eject Jalen Green, eject everybody that was in party of that whole thing. But where I thought the refs went wrong was with not rewarding Fred VanVleet the timeout. I think that's something that should be reviewable, not challengeable, but reviewable to the point where it takes 2 seconds to look. Fred got that timeout right as the 5-second, hit, right before the 5-second hit. So I really think that should be something that's reviewable, because it's something that takes 2 seconds. You don't even have to sit down and look at it for a whole minute or 2 and take that much time. It's so quick to look at. That's what I think was frustrating on the refs' end. And then ejecting Fred, you don't have to go that far. And then with the Ime and the Ben Sullivan. But did the refs lose tonight because of did the Rockets lose tonight because of the refs? 100% not. No, the Rockets did not lose this game because of the refs. The refs did not beat the Rockets tonight. The Miami Heat did not beat the Rockets tonight. The Rockets beat themselves. From 8 minutes to 2 minutes, the Rockets didn't score in this fourth quarter. They were able to score 6 points at the end of the quarter, hit a couple threes. It was Cam Whitmore and Dylan Brooks who hit a couple threes at the end of this game. But to the point, with 8 minutes left, they didn't score until Dylan Brooks hit a layup with 2 minutes to go. That's what beat them. They beat themselves in this game. So many bad threes shot at the end of this game that should have not been shot. The Rockets beat themselves. The refs made bad calls that potentially could have hurt this Rockets team tonight, but I don't think the Rockets would have won this game because they shot terrible through a 6-minute stretch of this game, and I think that's the ultimate reason why they are, coming out of this game losers tonight. But that doesn't change the fact that the refs were terrible in this game, and this is we have this going around throughout the whole league of terrible refereeing. But did the Rockets lose this game tonight because of the refs? No. And if you think that, you just hurt that the Rockets lost this game. The refs were terrible in this game tonight. At the end of this game for the Rocket, not making the right calls that would have helped the Rockets out. But offensively, in this game, at the end of the game, the Rockets beat themselves through the 6-minute stretch where they were not able to score at all. That is what hurt them. That they beat themselves tonight. 104-100 is the final score. Alperen Sengun was fantastic tonight. I think one thing that really hurt them tonight in the second half was his scoring going down in the second half. He was fantastic in the first half. Scored 14 points in the second half. 14 points in the first half. Only put up 4 points in the second. Finishes with 18 points and 18 rebounds with 6 assists. That was fantastic for Alperen Sengun. He also had 1 steal and 1 block. Shot 8 for 14 and 0 for 1 from 3. But I don't think he shot enough in the second half, and not just that, but I thought the Miami Heat played some great defense on him and had a great game plan defensively for Alperen Sengun in this game, and I think that really hurt them. Jalen Green, his 3-point shot chucking was a big reason why the Rockets lost this game. Now, I'm not going to say it's just Jalen Green. He's not the only one to blame. I think Dylan Brooks took some terrible shots from 3. He shot 5 for 12. But those two guys both had 7 missed threes. That hurts you. Van Vliet as well had 6 missed threes, but he also did make 4, so we're not going to go crazy on Van Vliet. But it's the terrible 3-point shooting. 13 for 40, 32%. Why do you keep shooting? Like Jalen and Dylan, why do you keep shooting some terrible shots? Like Fred, there were some times where I thought there were some of the threes that he did take, the ones that he did make, they were some good looks, some good shots. But there were a lot of the threes that Fred missed that were terrible shots. There was this one with 10 minutes remaining, about 10 and a half minutes remaining, where I think Fred VanVleet should have passed the ball to Alperen Sengun as he had Nikola Jovic on him, had this smaller guy. Khalil Ware was in the game. He had a really big stretch for this team. He had 7 points and 7 rebounds in 14 minutes for Miami, and he was really in the zone. This is a 7-foot guy. Fred VanVleet's on. Fred VanVleet has him on him, and Jovic is on Sengun. What I think you should be doing there is, Fred, don't take a huge step back shot on the 7-footer. Pass it to the Rockets 7-footer against Jovic. I'm not saying Jovic is small or anything, but Alperen Sengun is bigger than Nikola Jovic, and I thought that was going to be a good possession for Alperen Sengun if you pass it to him. But instead, Fred takes a stupid shot. Ball goes to Miami. So there were a lot of bad shots that Fred took in this game, if you ask me. But, that really hurts you. I thought Sengun was terrific. He had 18 and 18. I thought there were a lot of possessions in this game in the second half where the Rockets should have given him the ball instead of taking these crazy, stupid shots. But at the same time, who knows if that would have worked out, because I thought Miami had some really good defensive game plans for Sengun as well. Dylan Brooks had 22, even though he shot 5 for 12 from 3. He had 4 rebounds. Jabari only had 7 points, only played 26 minutes, shot 2 for 5 from 3. Jalen had 19 points. He was terrific in the third quarter, 14 points. I thought Jalen was terrific in the third quarter. But here's the bad thing about Jalen Green's third quarter. Jalen Green's third quarter made him think he had a huge green light in the fourth quarter, and he was in the zone in the third. It was 100% in the zone, but he wasn't in the fourth, and because of his third quarter, he just kept shooting, thinking, he was going to have the success he had in the third, and it just never happened. But he had a terrific third quarter, and Fred had 16, Alperen Sengun had 18, Dylan had 22, Jabari had 7, Cam Wilmore had 7 points. It's so good seeing him playing better basketball, 3 for 7, 1 for 2 from 3, 3 rebounds. The Rockets are a better team when he plays better, but unfortunately, there were a lot of players that weren't playing that great tonight to help him. But I'm not saying he was the best player on the floor tonight, but when he's playing better basketball, this team is better, and that did not happen. Speaking of someone who's playing really good basketball tonight, only 12 minutes, Steven Adams grabs 9 boards, 3 assists, 4 points. When Steven Adams plays like this Rockets team is better. So when you have guys like Cam Whitmore and Steven Adams who had the games they had tonight off the bench and limited playing time, they are terrific players if you ask me. But, it doesn't help when you have, and the way Sengun played tonight, when you have him playing like that, this is a better team. But when you have the way Jalen Green played tonight, the way Fred VanVleet played tonight, the way Dylan Brooks played tonight with some terrible shot selections, that's what really hurts this team. Let me know your thoughts on the Rockets' 104-100 loss in the comment section, and peace out.